Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome back to Sparxe's 2 key event presented by Joke. We are officially kicking off streaming the semifinals weekend of this round. Some funny reschedule shenanigans made things a little awkward to get this first match underway, but we eventually got there in the end. Today we're going to be bringing you guys a losers bracket matchup between Zoobin and Mari. Both these players fighting for their tournament lives to kick off this semifinals weekend. As always, my name is Sparky and I am alone in the commentary booth this time around once again. It is going to be a solo cast here as we get things underway. It looks like the players are officially into the roles. Zoobin with the 80, Mari with the 53 to start things off. And as we get the rolls, the band's underway as well. Would be remiss to forget that this is a doubleheader. It was originally going to be a 2-match block, but again, rescheduling shenanigans made these overlap now. So the other match is Astel Fanboy versus Bagietka. We'll maybe tune into that match if this one ends a little quickly, but for right now we'll be bringing you guys the match that was supposed to be at this hour. And as we get things underway, Mari banning the SV chart for the round. Anybody that tuned in last weekend might also notice the map pool has grown by a couple of maps. It is now a best of 11, first player to 6 points. We'll be moving on to the second half of semifinals weekend. The loser will be eliminated from the tournament. So right now just waiting on Zoobin's ban. They've had a propensity to get rid of the SV as it is available. They aren't one to shy away from it, but I imagine time constraints just sometimes prevent them from learning it, as they end up banning out LN3. And with that out of the way, we can officially get into the first pick. It will be Zoobin up to bat first. They've shown a tremendous aptitude towards rice accuracy, and with the LN ban maybe tipping their hand a little bit, can go into the hybrids, but they're gonna opt for the most straightforward rice chart in this pool. as has been the case. Rice won. Mao no Showtime going to be the first map of this match. Bit on the longer side in comparison to some of the other Rice 1 picks. This one eclipsing the 2-minute mark. Most of the other ones have been just under that mark. And this should be a good benchmark for where these two players are at in terms of their ceiling overall. We have seen Zoobin bring out some warm-ups that have been rather ridiculous in terms of difficulty and making quick work of them. Haven't seen Murray as much in terms of streamed matches, but very capable player on their own right. So we'll see how they stack up in comparison to Zoobin, if they can pick up the first break point in this match, or if Zoobin will be securing their first pick. We'll just have to wait and see here. We're going to start seeing a bit more physical-oriented patterns, these alternating back and forth doublets, some single note wiggles as well, but everything in Rice 1, it really, while it doesn't pull any punches, it's not going to be as physically demanding as something like the speed pick, nor is it going to be anything polyrhythmic, something like Rice 4. So overall, both players really strong starts, so both at 99.7 mark. Right now just separated in terms of the accuracy, but Mari finding the drop on the transition out of the segment. It was within hundreds of points, immediately explodes to 11,000 points off the back of Zoobin, holding on to this 99.97% accuracy. The triplets coming through as well, not tripping up either of the players, able to handle the transitions between the streams very nicely. But Mari picking up a couple of 200s through the section, able to hold on to their combo this time around on the rebuild climb. But I mean, when you're playing against somebody that's near perfect in terms of their play, as I say that, Zoobin picking up a weird double tap there to break their combo, loses about a 10.5, but still nursing a 40,000 point lead. There's really not much Murray can do to contest in terms of trying to capitalize on that drop. A drop of their own as well, gonna reset the combo shortly thereafter. So no harm, no foul at the end of the day. And as we make our way into the last quarter of the chart, Murray finding another drop as the doubles begin to come through in these stream sections. Makes it a little awkward to maintain where your fingers are supposed to be at any given point, but Zoobin's gonna take that and run with it to extend their lead to 64,000 points now. Recovering very nicely from their early drop, still holding on to some pretty good accuracy here. 99.84 is going to be a bit of a benchmark. Unfortunate for the drop, but very clean overall, and on course for a very convincing first map win. Another drop from Mari, gonna basically finalize the result, but there was hardly ever any doubt there as Zoobin picks up their first point in this match. 52 300s. And a miss. That's terrifying. Murray not doing too bad in their own right, but it would have been the ratio if not for the misses. And they're going to opt to go for LN1 here. Maybe flip the script a little bit, but gotta give it a good go. Who knows what can happen. If I'm not mistaken, this is a custom song from Toromaru for this map pool. A very lovely song to listen to. I think the players are ready. We're gonna get into the second map. Mari's first pick in this match. And now roles are reversed. Can Zoobin pick up that first break point, or can Mari maintain parity here? So far, very good starts from both players once again. very close to these early goings. Mari picking up a couple of 200s to bring down to that low 9% mark. Zoobin managing to avoid those pitfalls of overholding some of these shorter LN tails. And both of them transitioning into the second quarter of this chart, beautifully holding on to both their full combos. Right now just separated by the accuracy. Zoobin ahead by about 6,000 points. But they do find the first slider break here, immediately cuts the lead in half. Mari above that 400 combo cap, gonna start making a bit of a dent in this lead. That's about a half a percent loss from Zoobin here, but still able to keep themselves ahead because of the fact that Mari's down below that 99 mark. But if they can start to find their way back up above that 99% mark, they can start making some inroads in this lead. Despite Zoobin being up above that 400 combo cap, the amount of points you bleed from a pure miss able to be overcome, but for right now, road to recovery intact. Zoobin now back up at that mark they were at before the miss. 8,000 points now going into the back half of the chart. Still all to play for here as Zoobin finds yet another drop on the transition. Mari manages to hang on, still holding on to the FC with a third of the chart left to go, and once again in a prime position to start making some dents in this lead. Shrinks about 2,000 points. It's just the accuracy keeping Zoobin ahead at the moment. Oh, but Mari finds the drop finally. Unable to hang on, picking up a number of 200s before finally finding the miss, and that is the respite Zoobin needed. Because of the fact that they are 1.5% ahead, able to just... Okay, that was an awkward transition for both players. Full combo reset on both sides. But as I was saying, Zoobin needing no second invitation to really run away with this lead now. 47,000 points doesn't do justice to how close this map was at certain points. A couple of drops as Zoobin finds yet another one, but they have built up enough of an advantage to stave off the advances, and they do pick up the first break point in this match to make it 2-0. And there you have it, a pretty nice run overall. Zoobin able to avoid the slider breaks. Those are just pure misses at the end of the day, but because of the fact that the ratio is just so much better, about having more than half of the 300 counts and the 200 counts single digit to triple digit, that keeps you in the lead. It's quite a number of points when you tally it up at the end of the day, but Zoobin able to successfully get that first break point, and now back on the pick. Wouldn't be surprised if they just went down the list on these rice charts, but they're gonna go for speed 2. New addition for the weekend. We get a second speed chart. First appearance of Miming as a mapper, a mainstay in 1 key. Did not sign up for the 2-key tournament, but that's not going to stop them from making some pain for the players to play through. Yeah, 276 BPM. And we include the 1/8s that are more than likely littered throughout this chart. We are pushing 540 BPM on a singular key at any given moment. A short map in comparison to some of the other maps in this pool, but as we get things underway, gonna be these 5/4 patterns, where it's 5 on one hand, 4 on the other, that are gonna not trip up either of the players, but we start to see some indications in terms of how comfortable both these players are. Zoobin just incredibly comfortable with what's being asked here. Mari doing very well to hang on as long as they did, but unfortunately not able to hold on to the combo that they had built up. Gonna find the drop and down into that 97% mark. Gonna be able to build up their accuracy as things calm down just a little bit in the grand scheme of things in this chart. But as these rolls come through, not able to handle the transition, and the first real break making its way through a bit of a calm LN section in comparison to everything else that's going on. A chance for the players to catch their breath, and Zoobin with this 45,000 point lead, essentially in cruise control, barely flinching at any of what was going on to start that map. A third left to go here before we dive right back on into it, and transitioning into it nicely. A couple of 200s once again from Mari as they try to hang on to the speed requirement of this chart, but every 10th that they give over is another couple thousand points for Zoobin's lead, and they are still holding on to this FC. A couple of 200s coming through on Zoobin's side, but minor little blips on a radar of what is quickly could become an 80,000 point lead with an eighth of the chart still left to go. And despite their best efforts, just not able to match the accuracy, the physicality of Zoobin, and successfully capitalizing on that breakpoint, making it 3-0 to start this match off. The couple of 200s that came through, only two at the end of the day, on a near V1SS run. And now Mari opting for LN2, gonna make it through that category. Gonna go into Sayonara Planet Wars. Pretty popular song, all things considered. They're a pretty short one in comparison. This one markedly faster. Gonna wait and see what happens here. Zoobin looking to try and find a second breakpoint as Mari finds a early drop to start things off. Not able to read that first structure very well, but thankfully very early on can shake it off very easily. As Zoobin with their lowest starting accuracy on a chart so far this match, down to the 99.4 range, gonna start to climb up here, but Mari finding a couple of misses in return. Gonna bring them down quite a considerable amount. Zoobin already 20,000 points in the lead going into the second quarter of this map. And still more misses coming through here. The 200s from Mari, but eventually this one does get traded back this time around. But the lead stays relatively intact. In fact, it's basically doubled as the players start to trade once again. These gallops between the columns and these elongated streams with these longer, harder to read anchors do trip up both of them, but Zoobin in the exchange is just so much cleaner in their misses. And as we make our way into the last third here, 90,000 points to margin, 4% between the two players. And there are a couple of slider breaks coming through from Zoobin, but it's just tiny little drops in a bucket of a cushion that they have built up. Mari trading back some of those misses in spades. With the outro coming through here, despite the first real chart that's given Zoobin a bit of a headache to play through, still able to keep themselves above that 99% mark. It's just the fact that when they are on, the accuracy that they can put through It's more than enough to see him over the line, and it is now 4-0 to start this match off. A pretty convincing chart in terms of scoreline. Maybe not as convincing a performance as some of the other charts, but still enough to get them over the line, despite Mari's best efforts here. And now Zoobin up to pick again, an opportunity to make it a match point situation, and they're going to go for Rice 3, not even thinking about it. As we go into White House. It's nice seeing the map variety in this map pool. Starting to see more names populating the landscape. No more just Niv and Sparxe playing through everything. I think Iron's had a couple of maps in previous map pools, but it's just nice seeing some variety, seeing some folks being able to make these late game charts, knowing that they're not being shackled by having to tone down the difficulty. We know that Iron has some pretty hard content to play through. And with Rice 3, it's basically just going to be faster, steadier anchored streams. Zoobin handling the first one, Mari not handling them quite as nicely. Just the speed requirement to alternate this quickly. Or if you're insane like some of the players on the upper half of the bracket, single tap these. 175 BPM is no joke, especially when you have these sequences of way longer than 16 to even 20 notes on one hand. And overall, chart has some pretty comfortable transitions. It's just getting through those odd numbered sequences. Mari not having the best time of it, but Zoobin finding the drop. I was about to sing their praises, and I think I might have signed, sealed, delivered that one in advance. But still, very clean overall. Might be upset with themselves for finding the drop, but I mean, it's way more than enough. With half the map still left to go here, Mari trying to get themselves up into the A rank. As we get into a bit of a calmer section. But it will surely pick up again with half the map still left to go. It is almost 200,000 points the difference between the two players. There is definitely a discrepancy in terms of comfort. Not something Mari would have ever really gone for willingly. Zoobin having an awkward transition out of or into this section. Arguably one of the simpler patterns, but when you're trying to get yourself ready for these elongated streams, it can happen. And with a quarter of the map left to go, I mean, this one was done and dusted very early on. Mari doing very nicely. They get themselves back up into the A rank range. See if they can put up a score that they can be proud of, but I mean, Zoobin with the perfect pick, all things considered. These alternating streams. You can get comfortable reading through these, but when you get into those odder sequences, it can be a little hard to read through. And Zoobin with near perfect, near perfect, the one miss, and a couple of goods, and that was just on a wiggle into the stream section again. Oh, if people single tap this, I don't know. I don't know what to say anymore. the lengths to which people will put themselves through to try and squeeze things out. Ah, yes, I forgot. Zoobin is one of the players that does alt their way through these things. So they're chilling. These structures pretty easy to read through. And Mari gonna opt for our tech map, Rice 4 Passage D. And it's one of those artists that is near synonymous with tech maps. The flashbulb. I feel like we were saying this a lot this weekend. It's you hear this artist, you just know there's gonna be some nutty stuff getting thrown at you. Just snaps all over the place, intricate patterning, polyrhythmic structures, the likes, all condensed into a nice little package just under 2 minutes. Zoobin looking to try and secure the match here. Mari looking to try to stave off elimination, but might be meeting their match here as we get into this 6th map of this best of 11. So you can already see right out of the gate, just pulling no punches with regards to the overall structure of the chart. Just these alternating streams going into the doubles. It's really the doubles that put a lot more strain on the rhythms you're being asked to play, because of the fact you have to really hunker down in terms of where that second hand's supposed to come in and not overcommit, not over-tap on the wrong column, because if you do, with how densely packed this chart can get at times, it can cost you the rest of that section inadvertently at times. But right now, Zoobin in near cruise control, 40,000, 50,000 points as Mari finds the first drop of this chart down into that 96% range. They're doing very well, and that has been basically the tail of the tape this match. Doing very well to match up to combo to start off the map, but ultimately just not able to have enough to see it over the line. With a third of the chart left to go, it's 3% between the two players, 77,000 points. And outside of Rice 3, that was really the only real struggle point. And it can be understood. Trying to single tap your way through that is a very tall ask, but doing very well, all things considered, to keep themselves above the S rank range. It can get very confusing to read through a map like this. But for right now, that will be the final couple of notes raining down on this match. 138,000 points, uncatchable. Zoobin this entire match 6-0 to make their way into the second half of the semifinals weekend, knocking Mari out of the tournament. Commiserations to them, but hopefully they had fun. Both players complimenting the map pool so far with the song selection. It has been very nice to listen through. And Zoobin not done just yet, but one step closer to finals weekend. Gonna put this one away 6-0. And it looks like the other match is still ongoing. I mentioned at the top of the broadcast that Astro Fanboy and Baguetka are going at it against each other. We'll see if we can pull this one up, but for right now, congratulations to Zoobin. We'll see him again later this weekend, playing the winner of the aforementioned match between Astro Fanboy and Baguetka. So that match is currently 5-0 in favor of Astro Fanboy. So right now, I'm gonna attempt to transition. Gonna give a quick match recap as we get things underway here. Looks like the MP Star Command is coming through here. It's gonna be Speed 1. And it looks like it was Astro Fanboy's pick here to go into this. It was Baguetka winning the roll, 61-54. Allen 1, Rice 3, Allen 2, SV making an appearance, and Hybrid 1, the maps before this, but I know Astro has managed to win all 5 of the maps presented so far, and Baguetka having a rough go of this introduction. Lower BPM, but definitely more high octane in terms of the overall single note structures, alternating between, you have these implied anchors, and then alternating between the hands that can catch the players out. It's going to be interesting to see if there are any 2-note chords that are going to start interrupting these, but so far it's just plain singles. throughout. And one of the first elongated structures of anchors on the left hand going over to the right hand. And Astle looking incredibly comfortable so far. 60,000 points to the good as Gekka picks up a couple of misses, trying to keep themselves above the S rank range. Back up into that 96% mark, but as it stands, with half the map left to go, Astle in a very commanding position here, with 77,000 points of a cushion to work with, and actually climbing in terms of accuracy. Just thinking of a couple of 200s, I imagine some of those longer one-hand anchors. But by Gekka finding her miss, it's basically every miss is about 10,000 points, getting bled over. That being said, they have recovered quite nicely in terms of the accuracy, kind of gaining their bearings. Sure, picking up a couple of rough sections here and there, transitioning in and out of these sequences, but they were at that 95% mark, managed to make it close to the 97, but with both of the players trading, I mean, these exchanges only held Astle in the grand scheme of things, and 8th of the chart still left to go here. 118,000 points to lead, and expanding now as Gekka picks up another couple of misses. And that will do it for this one as well. A valiant effort from Gekka as I look through the overall MP link to see just how close some of these maps might have been. But that will do it here, Astle fanboy. Moving on to the second half of semifinals weekend as well. Knocking Gekka out of the tournament here. This one very much on the ropes in terms of being a win by default, but thankfully both players able to agree to a time to give themselves a match. Astle fanboy will be facing off against Zoobin, actually. So we actually managed to decide one of the matches. Saturday, 16 UTC, pending reschedule. You know how times can work. But that will do it here for these two matches. We'll be back tomorrow, actually. 14 UTC will begin the Saturday block of matches. It will be Dragon going up against Maddie. 16 UTC, Zoobin versus Astle, the aforementioned two players that just played in this block. And then rounding off Saturday at 22 UTC, Nathaniel versus Basil, the first half of the winner's bracket coming through there. So definitely a lot more action to come through here on this semifinals weekend. But until then, we'll wrap it up here, and we'll catch you guys later.